I mean, if somebody cares about you and you do business with them, aren't you better off than when they don't? I'd rather have that than just, cold over the internet business thing, right? Buying a home, this is your family, this is where you're going to live, or you're selling a home, you got to move, you don't have time. Chuck and Olga, Realtors with Long and Foster, great website, chuckcares.com. And he's joining us now as we're live in Wheeling. Chuck, great to have you.
Hey, John, good to talk to you.
Tell you, we are deep in the heart of Trump country, getting out of Northern Virginia. We can't find every single business we drove past yesterday. I mean, on Main Street has a Trump sign or welcome Mike Pence, or it's just like Trump owns the state, no question about it.
Oh, it makes me feel so good. You know why? Because I'm from Uniontown, Pennsylvania.
Really?
Near Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, we have to fly into Pittsburgh.
And that is Trump country.
No question about it. We had to fly into Pittsburgh. And so have you been where I am now, the Olga Bay Resort and Conference Center in Wheeling?
No, I haven't. You need to send me there. I'd love to be there. I've been listening to you. You're doing a great job up there.
Oh, Chuck, thank you. I appreciate that. Compliments early in the morning go a long way on the John Fredericks Radio Network. So, look, I got to get an update here because I try to cover everything, business, industry, politics, as you know. What's happening in the real estate market?
Oh, we're having a great year here. The spring market's over, so it's now shift to a more balanced market. That's just temporary. It's seasonality. Now's the great time if a buyer wants to get a good deal on a home. Before, in our spring market, we had so much competition, multiple offers to negotiate. It took a lot of strategy to help a buyer be a winner, and I think all sellers were winners. Right now, the buyers want a great deal. Act now because it's only temporary. We'll soon be in the fall market, and probably about the middle of September, it's going to kick up again for a couple months. So the sellers, but I'd recommend they start getting their homes ready for sale.
So interest rates are rising, and they have to. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has said they're going to continue to rise because they've been pushed down below equilibrium to kind of not keep the economy down when we were only growing at 1%. We had quantitative easing. Now he says they have to come up. What do you tell people that are in the, either they want to buy a home or they want to sell a home and they're looking at rising interest rates? How does that affect them, and what is your message to them now, Chuck?
Well, take advantage of it because these interest rates are artificially low. When I first got into real estate, we had interest rates 17%. Most homes were being sold either by assumptions, so they could assume a lower rate, or the seller would have to take back their equity in a second trust. I never thought we would see even single-digit interest rates, let alone what we have now. So take advantage of that. Buy as much home as you can because it's your hedge against inflation. Your homes average go up about 7% a year historically since about 1940 on the average. You're borrowing money, living in the home, you're borrowing at 4.5%. That's such a good value there. Borrow as much as you can for as long as you can because it's not going to be here forever.
Yeah, it's only going to go up.
We're in a great economy now. We're in the Trump economy. I mean, he has done so well at turning this country around. And what's that going to lead to? It's going to lead to inflation. What's the largest asset that most people own in America is their home. So if you can have a home, whether it's a $100,000 home or $1 million home, and that home's going up in value, while you're using other people's money, don't miss the boat. Buy as much as you can now.
No, look, that makes a lot of sense. Chuck, let me just ask you something. You're the the founder of homeservices.com, and I know you've got quite the background in a lot of areas. But when you look at real estate, Chuck, and let's just be candid with each other. There is a lot of choices to make. A lot of companies, a lot of different people. People advertise. They're on billboards and digital ads. Why Chuck and Olga?
Well, I am the founder of actionhomeservices.com, and I founded that back in about 1976. At one time, we had 100 employees. My sons now run that company. I know homes in and out. I'm a master electrician myself. I employ heating and air conditioning technicians, plumbers. My sons run that company. I worked in that company for many, many years. I understand a home. Before you even call a home inspector, I've analyzed that home. I can smell a good one from a bad one. When you work with Chuck and Olga, most of our transactions are done entirely by my wife and myself. We have other team members that we employ or use at certain times, but whenever I use those team members, I'm involved every step of the way. And my wife, I'm the mover and the shaker. I go out and get the listings. I go out and help the buyers. I show the properties. But my wife, she writes the offers. I negotiate them. She writes them. She does all the computer work. She coordinates the lenders, the appraisers, the home inspectors, and gets the properties to closing. There's a lot of deals fall out. There's a lot of fallouts after the initial ratification of the contract. So it takes some real finesse to hold the deals together, and that's what a good realtor does. She gets them to closing. Speaking of that, we're doing a lot of split settlements now. Whenever I represent sellers, I used to go with whatever settlement company the buyer would choose, but because by statute, the buyer has the right to choose their settlement company. But now with the reform of the settlement disclosures and privacy, realtors can be in the dark. So now I've elected, whenever I'm representing a seller, I have a split settlement so that I have a settlement company that's giving me information so that I can analyze it and watch it and make sure there's no errors. Recently
on the behalf
went to
of
a settlement.
Right.
I found so many errors on the disclosing document, I couldn't believe I was dealing with a professional closing company.
I tell you what, well, that's the kind of personal service you're going to get from Chuck and Olga Teets, and you can go to chuckcares.com, or give them a call today because time is money. Let's get your house sold. You want to buy it, you want to sell it. They are the company that cares about you. 703-898-8930 if you're in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Chuck Teets, Chuck and Olga, chuckcares.com, 703-898-8930. Chuck, I just got to ask you this. I mean, you're a licensed electrician. You've been in the home industry, the maintenance of it, and now in real estate for a very long time. What are you the most proud of, Chuck?
Well, I love helping sellers. In this market, homes will sell if they're priced properly and prepared properly, but I really feel good about helping a vet get into a home with no money down. I mean, there is hardly any better feeling than that whenever you're at the settlement table and you give them the keys.
Now,
in addition to that, helping first-time buyers. That's another one. Oh, my goodness.
That's tough, right?
When you help them get their dream home, that's better than any commission that you receive because it makes you feel good about life.
And if you've got a first-time buyer, I'm sure you got to help, navigate them through all the nuances and the do's and don'ts and all that.
Well, I make sure that they don't make a mistake. That's the biggest thing. Help them get what they want. I do what they want. That's my job. But I don't want them to have any buyer's remorse.
Chuck, if you're thinking about selling your home today, but you don't really know what the value is, I mean, you look up the different listings, but you don't really know what's your home worth. In this market, which is hot right now, if you're thinking about selling it, you don't want to underprice it. If you have to sell it, you don't want to overprice it. So how do you really determine what your house should be listed at, what you should take? How do you determine that, and are you able to assist in that process?
Well, it takes a lot of experience. There's companies out there that will computer generate a value based on homes in your neighborhood, but we fight that constantly because what do they know? They haven't even been inside the home. We come out and visit the property. There's many more factors that go into that other than just what homes have sold in the community. What condition is your property in? What are the schools? What's the history? What's the demand? And the purchase price can be an equation of how long you're willing to wait for it. But right now, most homes are going under contract within the first month, sometimes within the first week, many times within the first week.
So would you say right now, Chuck Teets, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market, and why?
It's balanced right now, but
really,
probably only for about another 6 weeks.
And then what happens?
It had been a seller's market. Spring market is a seller's market. Mm-hmm. But right now is the time that if a buyer wants to get a good deal and likely not be in competition with another buyer where you have multiple offers and you have to pay above list price, act now. Start doing your homework no matter when you want to buy within the next year. I'm glad to go out and show people properties. I don't care if they look at 50 properties, because I want them to be informed so whenever the right one comes along, they can jump on it right now. That is so important because good deals will not stay on the market. They'll be gone. Because if you recognize it as being a good deal or a good value, so will many, many other buyers.
So right now, it's a balanced market, but in a couple months, you think it's going to be a buyer's market, right?
Seller's market.
A seller's market.
Because we have our fall market in this area, very similar to the spring market. So
really,
about the second week of September, October, and November, we'll be really booming. It'll be hot, and the sellers will be able to get their price and a little more than its value in many cases. But I wanted to talk about difficult transactions because I really pride myself whenever we're working with difficult transactions, and especially when you have a seller that needs to sell their property in order to get the money out of it to buy the next property.
Right.
It's very, very tricky. And
right.
It has a lot of moving parts in any transaction, but in that type of a transaction, we have a lot of different practices that we employ to make it be successful. And the key to it is making sure it's a win-win for both the seller and the buyer. And we just completed one of those. We have another one coming up. It's a very difficult transaction where they're going to be selling their property, but they need the money to remodel the other property. They don't want to do two moves, so we're currently negotiating with the seller so that they can remodel the property before they even move into it.
Look, that makes those are always the tough ones. Or there's easy and then there's hard, and it looks like something that's more difficult. You're there for them. Chuck, I only got a couple more minutes. We're with Chuck Teets, Chuck and Olga, of Long and Foster. You can reach them. Go to chuckcares.com. That's chuckcares.com. Or if you want to get your house moved right now, you want to get it sold right now, you want to get it done right, 703-898-8930, 703-898-8930, or go to chuckcares.com. Chuck, what about the leasing market? I mean, there's a lot of people now that still, they might be in transition. They're looking to rent a house. They don't want to buy. Right now, if you're looking to rent a house in the greater Washington metropolitan area, is it a buyer's or seller's market for rentals?
Well, there's plenty of rental properties on the market right now. We don't see a lot of competition in that area. There's lots of inventory as far as rentals go right now. We're glad to help somebody with that because we know someday they will want to buy if they're not able to right now. Or maybe they just want to keep their property because they They like a real estate investment. Real estate is a great investment, and they want to hang on to their current one. We have many people that are moving from a townhouse to a single family, and they choose to rent out their townhouse. If anyone would like any updates on their area, or they want to know the value of their property, or they'd like to receive properties the day they come on the market, just call me on my cell phone. You gave the number 703-898-8930. That is my cell phone. Or they can go to chuckcares.com.
703-898-8930. We'll go to chuckcares.com. Chuck Keats, Chuck and Olga of Long and Foster. Hey, Chuck, fascinating update. Appreciate you. You want to buy a home, you want to sell a home, it's Chuck Keats, Chuck and Olga. Or if you want to lease a home, right? That might be in your best interest. Chuck can do that also. Lots going on. And when I leased our place in D.C., I bet if I went to Chuck, I'd have got a better deal. See, I didn't know him back then. So all the money I wasted by not going to Chuck, or to chuckcares.com. Chuck, thank you, man. Thanks for being with us.
Time is money. Give me a call.
All right. Chuck Keats, 703-898-8930. We got